長官ユナイテッドエンパイア今日は試合があった。そして彼がエンパイアの応援してくれるってよ。みんなブローキンケーブルポッドキャストよろしく。
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Broken Tables podcast. This is episode number 106. I am your host, Jeffrey Vegas, here with our co-host, as always, King Rome, the reigning, defending Broken Predictions champion. And, oh my God, 2023, just, I can't even put it into words, Rome, that this morning at 3 a.m., we get one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen come out of Japan, with one of the best matches that I have ever seen in my life with Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. And then we come here to AEW Dynamite with a whole new look, a whole new set. And in my opinion, this was the greatest episode of Dynamite of all time. And I cannot come up with one that is better right now.
Well, it's kind of funny that you didn't ask how I'm doing today, because usually you do. I am. So let me tell you something, right? So I'm fucking exhausted. Okay.
Yeah.
I stayed up till 7 a.m. this morning to watch Wrestle Kingdom. After working a long ass shift the prior night, I literally got done work, grabbed some food, got home in time for the pre-show to start Wrestle Kingdom, and then just rolled with it. I'm exhausted, but I'm doing fucking incredible wrestling today. What a huge day for wrestling, just in general. I mean, first and foremost, Wrestle Kingdom, like you said, was phenomenal. It was the first time I've stayed up for a Japanese show, New Japan, or any promotion for that matter. But it was just incredible. There was some times where got a little tired, but that wasn't really the show's fault. That was just the fact that I'd been up for God knows how many hours at that point. But I mean, I will say that it was January 4th, and my match of the year is locked in. Probably one of my favorite matches of all time. Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. If you haven't watched it, you really need to. It is just mastercraft in this art form.
It's too good. It was too good.
Here's the thing, right? So I felt, and it's funny to say, but I felt so bad for Okada and Jay White, because they had to follow that up, and I didn't think it was a bad match, but I was sitting there, and again, it could have just been me just being tired because I had been up, but I was just Kenny and Will should have main evented the show. I understand it's New Japan, it's their world title, it's more important than the US title, totally get it, but man, that match was nowhere near as good as Kenny and Will.
I mean, technically you could say they did main event it because it was the whole co-main event thing, but yeah, it should have gone on last for sure.
I personally don't do the co-main. When you say co-main event, just say you have a good card. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the main
I agree.
event is what goes on last. I used to have this discussion back in the day about Undertaker at WrestleMania, where it was just Undertaker, especially in the height of the streak, Undertaker should have main evented WrestleMania. I don't care.
But I think I think in this case, the belt was bigger than the match. You know what I mean? You couldn't put the U.S. title over the IWGP Championship. So I just think that was probably the final decision maker there, you know?
I get it. But regardless,
Yeah.
like that match was just so incredible. And then got like literally 3 or 4 hours of sleep today.
Oof.
Yeah, I just couldn't sleep. Like I went to bed at 7. As the wife was leaving for work, I went to bed. Slept until like 11. So I guess yeah, it's like what, 4 hours? And then like just couldn't go back to bed. So I've been up.
I'm
But
actually shocked that I'm doing as well as I'm doing. You know, I woke up at 2:30. I watched the whole thing and went right back to sleep, and then I woke up for work at like 10. And I'm actually surprised I did so well today at work. I actually had no troubles, but it's catching up to me now, so I got the Red Bull popped open. So
yeah. And
let's say
luckily I had
hello
off
to
today, so it wasn't too bad. I'm fine.
yeah. Let's say hello to everybody in chat. We got Coach Nick. We got the Coog. Coach Nick says he loves the new entranceway. Coog says, what a way to open 2023. I've been watching Lucha Libre, Japanese Puroresu, and pro wrestling since the mid-1970s. Kenny Omega is the best professional wrestler I've ever seen in my lifetime, period. Yeah, man, I can't help but agree with you there. Maybe once in a while I'll argue with you, Bryan Danielson, after he has one of his bangers every single week, but Kenny Omega is my favorite wrestler right now, hands down. It's insane what this guy is capable of. And Will Ospreay's right there with him, man. It feels like Kenny's taking the role of like mentor with him, you know, and he's gonna do a nice program with him, a couple of matches. Maybe we'll see a trilogy out of these guys with Ospreay coming out on top, you know what I mean?
I mean, all I'm gonna say on the matter before we move on, I mean, obviously I think they should definitely have more matches. If this doesn't main event Forbidden Door this year, you fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
this
That'd be
got to be
crazy.
the main event. Like this, absolutely. I don't care about the IWGP US title. Like it doesn't even need to be for the title. Like just Kenny Will too. You know, Omega Ospreay too. That's got to be the main event of Forbidden Door. Like that's the match.
And Mia just says, well, AEW doesn't air in Brazil anymore, so had to watch it on one of the streaming websites. On the other hand, this episode was awesome. Man, that's unfortunate that it's not aired out in Brazil anymore. I'm wondering if they're just going through some changes and that kind of had to happen for a little while. You guys should get it back soon. Because, I mean...
I think that they want people... I mean, I think it was the channel there that cut them. It was like, or it wasn't even a cut. It was more of just like a budget thing. But I think you can sign up for AEW Plus. I think that's what AEW wants you to do as a fan in Brazil. I mean, again, I'm not telling you to spend your money. But I think that that's the idea. They want you to sign up for AEW Plus and then watch Dynamite, Rampage, Dark, and whatnot on the on that.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I definitely recommend, if you guys don't know, you can go to New Japan or NJPW World and sign up for their service. It's only 999 yen, which I'm really hoping is only $9.99 in the United States American dollars. And I signed up for that, and you get everything. You get everything on NJPW. You get their live pay-per-views and everything. So you could go watch right now for $10 and then continue for the rest of the month, have access to the entire service. It's probably the best $10 I've ever spent. And if AEW does it anytime soon, I will be spending that $10 as well. So if you want to see Wrestle Kingdom, I definitely recommend it. Just go to NJPW World, and it's cheap. It's not even pay-per-view price, $9.99.
$8. It's less than $9.99.
Oh, it was less? It was $8? Nice.
Yeah. Well, it was 9.99 yen, which translated to about $8.50 US.
Okay. I even feel better now. I thought it was like $9.99.
Yeah, no, it was super affordable, and they actually I'm not staying up tonight, but New Japan has another show tonight on it's called New Year's Dash, and it's like a vortex style show. So it's like completely nobody knows what the card is.
Oh, that's
at
weird.
4:30. That's at 4:30 a.m. So
yeah. All right, well, let's get into the AEW Dynamite review for January 4th at the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington. I've been waiting for AEW to travel to this part of the country for a long time, especially since Bryan Danielson has come to AEW. I wanted to see how this crowd would react to, a couple of hometown boys. We got Darby Allin, hometown boy as well. And this crowd did not disappoint at all. this Seattle crowd made this entire show feel like a pay-per-view. Did you see my Discord? I was like, this feels like a pay-per-view. After the first match was over, I was like, this is insane. I was, you know,
Yeah, I think Seattle absolutely just like established themselves as one of the better AEW towns. I mean, they were ready for it. They wanted the show. It was their first time, in Washington, in Seattle, and again, it's what we were talking about over the summer when, ticket sales were kind of going down a little bit. It wasn't really affecting viewership, but the ticket sales were down, and it's because no matter what, you can't run the same areas year round. Like, if you want to do better in terms of your live audiences, you need to tour more. You need to be traveling more because yes, the tri-state area, great crowds. Yes, Texas, great crowds. Yes, Seattle, great crowd, but like you can't just tour like obviously selfishly, I would love it if AEW came to Philadelphia every 2 months. Like that would be great. I would go to a show every 2 months and I would have a great time. But it's just not realistic. You got to travel. You need to build up that global audience, that national audience. You got to get people in the door. So, I mean, I think Jeff Jarrett is presumably a big, reason behind the schedule looking what it looks like so far this year. And kudos to him and kudos to them. This is great. You in Seattle and the crowd was excellent and it was a great night for the new presentation too. I mean, just so much better in a lot of ways. Like I am upset that the two tunnels are gone, but I mean like I'm watching this. Number one, the intro, they kept the light the fuse, but like tweaked it a little bit. Thought that was great. And then like the things that I really loved, obviously the set itself, just how huge it looks and how grand it looks. A lot of people were like disappointed that like oh the joke was that like oh it doesn't have the SmackDown fist or something like that. But it's like that's what AEW needs to kind of go for that grand look on their stage because that's what your stage is supposed to look like. It's supposed to look very high budget. It definitely did. Definitely other things. Mike Mansuri took over in the production side of things tonight. I noticed a few things. I thought that the crowd shots were a lot better. That place looked packed. Kind of going off what you said about the crowd being good in general. We've seen shows where the crowd was great, but the shots of the crowd weren't. And like this place, just the shots were great. The hard cam looked a little tighter. I thought, maybe that's just me. I don't know. The lighting was better. The arena looked fully lit, and just you could see the amount of bodies that were in there. And I just think that that's all really good improvements to your presentation.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed out those things as well, because I was gonna say the crowd lighting was absolutely perfect here tonight. 100% loved the crowd lighting. The new stage, the first thing that I wrote down is, the tunnels are gone, but oh my God, that stage looks incredible. The new side panels and the giant Jumbotron and the way that everybody's entrance music had like, the pieces were broken up on the entrance. Like MJF, for example, had his scarf pattern on the two giant pieces to the side. It looks so good, and I'm extremely happy that that they wound up doing that.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and get started with the review here. Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho starts our show off, and man, I don't think I could have asked for a better match to start this show. This crowd was insanely hot for this match. Ricky Starks is as over as it gets. There was a spot with Ricky Starks where he did the whole holding Chris Jericho's hand and walked on the top ropes, but he was walking with like that Ricky Starks swagger that he's got, you know what I mean? Like almost strutting. That moment right there, I knew. I was like, we're in for a special night tonight. Like something about that moment right there, the way that the crowd reacted to it, the way that it just came across the screen to me, like I knew right there. I was like, yo, we're in for a special night. And dude, was I right or what, man? Like I said, in my opinion, the best night of Dynamite ever. But this crowd, I can't say as much as I can't say enough about this crowd, man. Like they made this whole episode as good as it was. I'm gonna keep rambling on here. You take over for me.
I mean, you're right. You're 100% correct. I mean, just the crowd really killed it. It was a great crowd, an all-timer crowd, even like absolutely. Um, but this, like you said again, it was a great first match for this new era of AEW, this new chapter of AEW. A really clear kind of message they're sending there with Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho. You got the established guy, Jericho, kind of a mainstay in the original, the first arc of AEW, or the first two arcs, as I've said in the past. And then you have Ricky Starks, this young guy who's, he's coming into his own. He's over as fuck right now. It's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
And again, like, that a guy's over when, like, you look at the crowd and you see signs of literally just the things that Ricky said last week. Like, there was a guy who had a jobber sign. He's like flashing it in Jericho's face when Jericho walked by. I saw a few jassholes signs. Like, that's how you know that this guy is just hitting all of the right notes. He is just hitting my mic. He is just killing it. He's just constantly killing it. And tonight's no different. Some things about this match, which was an excellent match, awesome opener. Although nothing, I don't think anything on this card for me match wise is as good as Omega Ospreay, but
no, of course.
The bar was unfairly set high. So that like you're saying, like, oh, best episode of Dynamite ever. I think all of the matches tonight. Maybe it's because literally less than 12 hours ago I was watching Omega and Ospreay. Yeah. But I'm just, for me, like, I really enjoyed the promos. I enjoyed the matches, but like you know what I mean? It's just the bar was too high for me tonight.
Let me hit you with this. I enjoyed this match as much as I did Omega versus Ospreay.
No way, dude. Stop. No way.
No. I'm not in any way saying that it was a better match. I'm saying I enjoyed it just as much. Okay. The way that this match came across my screen, everything from beginning to end, was just, it was perfection. I try not to use that word very often, but just the whole story that was told in that ring with Ricky Starks and Jericho tonight, like the spot where Jericho had him in the walls of Jericho, and we get Cool Hand Angelo on the outside. He cast distraction on Aubrey. On the other side, we got Daddy Magic with Floyd. He smashes Ricky Starks in the mouth with Floyd and knocks him out while he's in the walls of Jericho, and he's laying there out, right? So, and it seems like this is something new for 2023. Taz said it immediately. He's like, well, you got to grab his hand and drop it 3 times. And that was the first time I think I've seen them do that in AEW. Normally the ref just looks and they're like, oh, he's out. And then they call the match. But she picks up Ricky's arm. It falls once. It falls twice. And when it fell the first time, I was like, oh man, it's over. He got bashed with Floyd. But something about when his hand hit the second time, I was like, no way. I was like, he's gonna come out of this. And sure enough, Ricky's hand doesn't hit the mat. He clenches his fist and powers out of the walls of Jericho. The crowd lost their minds for this spot, and so did I. I had my hands on my head. My jaw was in my lap. Like, I stopped writing notes at this point for the match. Like, this was incredible right here. So he escapes from the walls of Jericho. He reverses it into basically into a spear. He just gets out, kicks Jericho off, runs underneath I think it was a Judas attempt from Jericho, but hits the spear, gets the 1, 2, 3, and the crowd explodes. But before we get to celebrate for very long, the entire Jericho Appreciation Society attacks Ricky Starks. I think there's 8 of them now. That's a lot. We need to leave the ladies out of this, maybe, to keep it not so many people in the ring, because it makes it really unbelievable for anybody to try to come and make a save, which gets to what happens here. Action Andretti makes his way to the ring. A big pop for him. Jericho did his job a couple weeks ago and really put this guy over. And he clears out the ring with a steel chair for a few moments. And, just as I was saying to myself, like, really, dude, one guy, there's like 8 of you. The ladies hop in the ring, and he doesn't want to mess with the ladies. And I think it was Anna JAS hits him with the old uppercut to the, I forget what Taz called it. He called it some sort of bag. It was pretty funny. And, then the boys get the big time beatdown. Jake Hager with the shout out to the podcast. Thank you very much, Jake. puts Ricky Starks through a table from the apron down to the floor through a table, man. Love those shout outs to the podcast, but I wish it wasn't Ricky Starks that was through the table, but it's okay. This was excellent, beginning to end. Like I said, not as good a match as Kenny and Will by any means, but I enjoyed it just as much. This was
I gotcha.
Smile inducing.
No, absolutely, and it's an excellent match. Like I said, I don't want to take away from anything on the card tonight. Few thoughts that I had during this match. One thing I caught a glimpse of just the genius that is Chris Jericho tonight.
Yeah.
So they're in Seattle. Aubrey Edwards from Seattle. The crowd really into Aubrey during the match to a point where, like, to a fault. The crowd started kind of taking over a little bit, and they were chanting Aubrey's name. And I don't know if you picked up on this, but so what Jericho does is he pushes Ricky into the corner, and you can tell that it kind of moves in a way where he has Aubrey come over to try to break it up, and Jericho shoves Aubrey, and this crowd, nuclear. Like, they just started booing, and they just were completely back on track. And I just wanted to point that out because that is something that is GOAT shit right there. That is Chris Jericho helping make this match that much better by knowing that the crowd, while it's great that they're a hot crowd, you need to keep the crowd focused, because a hot crowd that gets derailed is not as good as obviously a crowd that's hot and invested. So, props to Jericho on that. That was just
absolutely
masterfully done.
Back to chat real quick. I missed Pat's Lover said this was a great show. Welcome, Pat's Lover. And we also had G-Man Brother saying Darby is awesome. Yes, he is. And Coach finally here with us for a live show. He got to see the Dynamite live tonight. The wifey got off work early, I believe he said. Man, this whole match, beginning to end, I loved it, and I knew right here we were in for an absolute excellent episode of Dynamite. Next up, we had Tony Schiavone in ring with Hangman Adam Page, and I really enjoyed this. Hangman looks amazing. He looks like he's been doing some working out. He's kind of getting that rest he needed, I guess you would say, and I cannot wait for this match with him and Moxley. I love the line he said where he just needs one more brain scan, and then he's gonna knock Moxley's dick in the dirt. I haven't heard somebody use that since back when I was in high school, man. The whole we used to say it like when we were drinking too much, but it was funny.
So just want to say that once again, the Hangman agenda is in full effect. If you don't get it, this guy is fucking incredible. This guy is him. This was another excellent promo from Hangman. He just comes out there. People, and Meduja just said it, he's so underrated. Like, I don't believe that he's fully underrated, because a lot of people understand what I'm saying, but like, the trick to wrestling is a suspension of disbelief. These guys are the guys that you don't need to work very hard to suspend your disbelief. Like, these guys are just fucking killing it. Just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and there that spot where Mox was cutting his promo to his face, and they were real close up, and Mox gets this real intense, like, he's a really intimidating looking guy, you know what I mean? Like, he's talking real when he's like from the streets of Cincinnati and stuff like that. And Hangman, like, he tried to like keep lifting his chin, and he tried to like make himself just as tall as Moxley, and like, it just looked so cool the way he was like trying to stand up to him. Like, I'm not afraid of you, bro. Like everyone else is. Like, I'm not afraid of you. You know what I mean? It just came across really well. I enjoyed this tremendously.
Also kind of like when Mox towards the end of the promo starts getting worked up, and you can just see him. He just starts pacing, and he's shaking. He's convulsing a little bit. And you know what Hangman does when Hangman's speaking to him? He leans over. He makes sure, I'm getting into your face. I'm not afraid of you. I'm not backing down. Yep. I want to beat the shit out of you. And he just constantly Mox turned, Hangman got right up in his face. And it was just, again, just completely perfection from both of these guys. And next week's Dynamite, That's the other reason why I would also not put a tag of best Dynamite of all time on this show, because man, next week is probably going to be the greatest episode of Dynamite we've seen to date.
I mean, it has a chance to be this, at this moment for me. It's where I'm at.
Yep. Also, it's worth pointing out, had a super unfortunate moment with the audio issues during this promo, which I feel like in the long run kind of helped because Mox seemed pissed off.
It did.
Got 2 F-bombs on TV, live TV, back to back.
I think it helped actually.
Yeah. But yeah.
So next up we had an insanely good promo video by Samoa Joe, the one true king of television. He kept calling Darby the little dead boy. Now, I'm not sure he's said that before or anybody has said that before, but that was one of the coolest things I have ever heard somebody call Darby. I hope he kind of adopts that name, maybe not the little part, but calls himself maybe the dead boy or something like that in the future, maybe, or something. But I was like, man, that's such a cool nickname, and Joe was trying to use it like in a bad way, but I thought it came across freaking awesome. So, I thought that was pretty cool. And next up after that, we had Jay Lethal and JEFFJARRETT, Jeff Jarrett versus the Acclaimed. My God, the crowd once again. Seattle, you guys deserve all the props in the world. You guys made this one of the best shows. The pop for the Acclaimed in this was absolutely enormous. Max Caster came out with another amazing rap. You got any lines that you wrote down from the rap there?
Well, the Skip Bayless line was great.
That was awesome.
Fuck Skip Bayless, by the way. First and foremost. Shannon Sharp, I think Shannon Sharp's about to leave that show.
Oh, yeah, I thought he was going to punch him.
Yeah, today. I don't know if you saw the clip from today, but man, did you see that today?
I think that's what I saw. I was like, I thought he was going to hit him.
So Sharp wasn't on the show yesterday because of he didn't want to speculate, but I mean, people are pretty sure it has to do with the injury that happened on Monday Night Football.
Yes.
Not injury, but you know what I mean. The incident. And so a lot of people were speculating that. Skip made a really tasteless tweet, which again, fuck him for that really shitty thing to do at a time like this. And then of course, Shannon Sharp returns to the show today and can't even get through his monologue because Skip just feels the need to fucking just step on it and just fuck him. That line was great. The Andrew Tate line was great. Love that. Yeah, just really good. Again, going in on Karen Jarrett, which there was some funny things during the match. I don't know if you noticed. The Acclaimed at one point or another, I think it was Caster both times, if I'm not mistaken, did an angle slam and the angle lock.
Yep. And he even did the little hop around on one foot that Kurt Angle does.
Right, yeah. Which I really loved and appreciated that.
So this was incredible. I wrote that down as well. Caster with the angle slam, the angle celebration, and the ankle lock. The Acclaimed, when they went to do their scissor me daddy ass thing in the middle, they did the strut. All three of them strutted to do the scissoring. I lost my mind, just like the crowd did. This was amazing. They baited Daddy Ass into getting himself kicked out. We had Jay Lethal slide out of the ring and he just slapped the crap out of him and then hop back in the ring. So of course Daddy Ass was pissed off. He tried to jump in the ring. Referee got in the way and threw him out. A few moments later, Satnam Singh actually throws Max Caster into the stairs. The referee didn't exactly see it, but he was suspicious enough to throw Satnam Singh out as well, who he got to drop a couple of F-bombs himself while he was flipping off the referees with the double bird saying, fuck you and fuck you. I was like, I looked over at the wife and I was like, you heard that, right? And she's like, yeah. So we had, I think, at a minimum 4 F-bombs tonight that were just like straight up dropped on TBS. So that was, you know, it is what it is. Well, we'll see what happens with that. They absolutely got me with this finish, man. I'm gonna admit, me and Coach were squatted up in the old war zone, and Coach was like, "Yo, watch them do a crazy ass finish and Jeff Jarrett win those titles tonight." And I was like, "Dude, you're out of your mind. That'll never happen. Not in a million years." And man, we have this finish where it was Bowens, right? Bowens gets his foot on the bottom rope. Jeff Jarrett's got him covered up, and Sanjay Dutt pushes his foot off the bottom rope, and the ref counts 3.
Mm-hmm.
Coach immediately texts me. He's like, I called this shit. And then I looked over to the wife and I was like, they better have another ref come running over here right now or I'm going to lose my shit. And sure enough, Aubrey Edwards hops in the ring and she grabs everybody who's celebrating's arms and she pulls their arms down and she's like, no. Calling that off. She's like, I saw this. And the other ref is like, are you sure? And she's like, yes, I saw it. It's only going to be a 2 count. He had his foot on the ropes. So luckily, Aubrey Edwards is there for the save. Man, I wish my other button would work. I was trying to get my other Aubrey button. Let's see if it works now. There it is. There she goes. So we restart the match. Thank God. But this was absolute genius, man. Tony Khan, Booker of the Year 2023. Write it down. It's already done. It's already over with. The Acclaim get in the ring. I'm sorry. So Max Caster.
No,
I got to start over here.
So Bowens.
Yes, Bowens was in the ring. He was about to get pinned with Jay Lethal using his feet up on the ropes. Max Caster from outside the ring pushes Lethal's feet off the ropes the same way that Sanjay Dutt kind of pushed off Bowens' foot. But this caused Bowens to get a roll up. And he rolled him up, rolls up Jay Lethal, and gets the 3 count. And they retain the titles in one of the best tag matches I have seen on non-pay-per-view television. They make it really hard for me to like say how much I liked matches when week after week we're getting stuff like this best of 7 and we're getting these matches. Like this is just, I feel spoiled. I actually wrote down right here. I feel spoiled right now. I don't deserve this much amazing wrestling since 2 o'clock or since 3 o'clock in the morning. Like this was wild, man.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, you raise a really good point there where it's kind of hard to come in as somebody who is legitimately trying to review, and I do kind of hope to critique where I feel the need to. I feel like we both do a pretty good job with that here. While we both are very, hardcore fans of the product and the company, I think we both also have a really good knack for keeping it real when we see the need to, to be honest. We will be honest about things. But like, fuck, man, they're just not giving us anything to complain about. Like, it's just like, all right, well,
yeah,
there's nothing there. It's difficult sometimes to review these shows because it's just like, it's great. Everything's just really good. I don't.
Yeah,
really
and then like you were saying earlier, with Aubrey being such a hometown girl, and Jeff Jarrett shoved her as well because of the decision to restart the match. The crowd just immediately erupted on him again. Like they're very smart backstage. Like if you've noticed, we've been saying this for a long time. They know that we're a smart crowd, and they reward us for it. And the guys backstage running the show, you can tell they are very smart and they know what things like that really get to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the things that we love.
Show. We see it later in the show, and I'll talk about it when we get there. But the Coug saying we deserve it after 20 years of a lame monopoly product from Stanford. Yeah, absolutely. Amen to that.
That made me tear up, Coug. I'm serious.
No, it's really true. It really is. Okay, so I don't think this is going to be a hot take here, but on wrestling Twitter, I feel like this is a hot take. So, Jeff Jarrett, right? My God, if this guy isn't one of the most perfect heels for AEW of all time.
This faction.
The faction, but mostly and more specifically, Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah.
And let me lay it down for you why, right? So Jeff Jarrett is, because again, I'm on wrestling Twitter every week, both before, during, and after Dynamite. And Rampage, et cetera, and every single week, it's just wrestling Twitter like fucking just hating Jeff Jarrett, not because he's bad, but just hating him because he represents the carny. You know what I mean? He is a carny. Like he's the best of the carnies, but he is a carny. So to have him come in here and not only doing the great work he's doing backstage with the scheduling and whatnot, but to have him come into the ring, and even he says it in a promo later in the night. I think this is Carney bullshit or something like that. He's just a perfect heel for AEW because the AEW fan base does not like the Carnies in pro wrestling. They don't. They want that stuff like the shit in Stanford to die and go away. And Jeff Jarrett is part of that generation. It's just is what it is. But Jeff's also very good at what he does. So yeah, he's a perfect fit to be a heel in AEW.
Yeah, and like Coach asked me, why do I love these guys? And I was like, they're the perfect heel faction. They've got the annoying manager guy, Sanjay Dutt. They've got the really good wrestler in Jay Lethal. They've got the older veteran who's got nuclear heat. That's not go away heat. I don't think it's go away heat. You know what I mean? It's just that, I want to see him get his ass kicked type heat.
Right.
They've got the giant that you want to see him in the ring, but he doesn't get in too often. Like the faction's just built perfectly with this guy, and just something about Jeff Jarrett. He was like that missing puzzle piece. You know what I mean? That once the piece was there, it's just like, wow, this is perfect. It's done.
I also like how another thing about the Acclaimed feuding with this team. I love how it's basically the Acclaimed feuding with TNA.
Yeah.
every single week it's just something new about TNA. But yeah, so this was an excellent match with a great finish that they don't do very often. I think it's been like 2 years since they did this kind of finish. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, that little weasel Sanjay Dutt. Man, I got to admit, back in TNA, I hated Sanjay Dutt, but I absolutely love him in this little manager role that he's in, where he doesn't get to wrestle, but he's just kind of like, he's that like annoying little dog running around the big dog. You know what I mean? I love this dude now. I love him.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the Acclaimed retained their tag championships in an absolutely great match. Yeah, the Dixie Carter part of the rap was incredible, Coach. Yeah, all of it. Next up, we had Tony Schiavone with a sit-down interview backstage with Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. This was good. They were kind of wondering who Soraya's partner is. They say, they are AEW originals, and Saraya just doesn't get it. She doesn't understand AEW. There was something here where Britt called herself the boss, and she winked at the camera. I looked over at the wife, and I was like, "Did you catch that?" And she's like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, "Well, Sasha Banks / Mercedes Varnado calls herself the boss." And she was like, "Oh, doesn't that like guarantee it then?" And I was like, "I would hope so, but we still don't really know because later on there's more to this." What'd you think of that? Did you catch that, or did you think anything of it?
Well, Jeff, let me start by saying that the streets talk, and a little bit before the show, streets were talking, saying some stuff. I don't want to get into it too much, but it was good. It was good talk. Let's just say that. Let's just say
very good.
Sources are saying good things. Absolutely, I wrote that down in my notes. Two big things that came out of this. The first thing I'll talk about later after the other segment. Second one, yes. She said that she's the boss and winked. She didn't just say I'm the boss. She said I'm the boss and then winked. Like, okay, well there you go. It's like Kenny Omega wearing a Cookie Monster shirt leading up to the first dance. Like, oh, okay. Like, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we had... actually, I wrote down something here. This is the point where I wrote up till right here. This is the makings of the best episode of all time. So this is right about where I realized I was like, I'm watching the best episode of Dynamite I've ever seen. I was like, if they continue this pace and all the matches are just as good, I was like, this is going to be the best thing I've ever seen. So next up, we got basically Jungle Boy cutting a promo on Big Bill and it was Lee Moriarty, right? Is that who he's talking to? It was Big Bill and Lee Moriarty. And he says, next week for one night only, we're going to get Jungle Hook. Taz was like, "Oh, yep, there it is." I can't wait, man. I don't think it's going to be one night only. I think people are going to love this so much they're going to have to give it to us again. But I think they should make it like a sporadic thing. Have them both go back to a singles match here and there, and then we'll team up one more time. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That way we get Hook on the main card of the pay-per-view instead of the 0 hour. I think that's where we're heading here for Revolution. Oh shit! Did I just figure it out? I might have just figured it out. All right. Next up, we had Bryan Danielson versus Tony Nese. Well, you could almost call this Bryan Danielson's hometown, but technically it's his home state. Danielson is from Aberdeen, Washington, not far from Seattle. But Taz did correct himself when he said hometown. He corrected to home state, so I guess I'm going to use that as well, the home state of Bryan Danielson. He got a absolutely massive pop, and this is why I've been waiting for AEW to head to Seattle. I have been wanting to see and hear what this crowd was going to be all about when Bryan Danielson's music hit. And Seattle, once again, for tonight, did not disappoint. Absolutely amazing. Danielson and Tony Nese didn't last long. Nese got a little bit of offense in, but he absolutely got annihilated by Danielson here. He gets hit by the Busaiku knee. Danielson stomps his fucking face into the mat. And, on a lifeless body, he slaps in another submission that was not necessary. He could have won by KO, but he decided to throw a submission in there to win by submission. The ref calls the match. And he immediately gets on the mic and calls out MJF. He says, "You know what? I'm still feeling froggy. I want to go again. Let's go, MJF." So MJF comes out, gets on the mic, and says, "No, that's not happening." This was absolute gold, man. I cannot tell you how much I loved this from beginning to end, just as much as the Ricky Starks Jericho match. But the whole promo between MJF and Danielson was just absolutely unreal here. When MJF talks about Danielson looking like a goat, and he says, maybe your mom kind of couldn't find a human suitor, kind of insinuates that she found a goat. Danielson's like, well, I'm pretty sure your mom found lots of human suitors. And he's like, I think it was everybody in this arena. He actually got to MJF with that one. And he actually got to me too, because I actually love MJF's mom. She's great on Twitter, by the way. You should follow her. I don't know what the follow is, but she's great. This was incredible from Danielson. That joke on MJF's mom was so good. The crowd went nuts for it. What do you think of this interaction here?
Well, number one, there was a sign in the crowd. It said "Remake Golden Sun." Yes,
Yeah,
they absolutely should remake Golden Sun. That is, or at least port it. Like the fact that it's not on Switch is a travesty. Anyways, man, what an all-around great moment for Bryan Danielson. Having this homecoming, it is a homecoming. Just the crowd being so behind him, and that this is the exact spot he wants to be in. He doesn't want to be the champion. He doesn't want to be the top guy. He wants to be in this spot that he's in now, just wrestling and having great matches and making other guys look great. And he's doing that right now. So I'm really happy for him. In terms of him and MJF, you could not find more polar opposites in the AEW locker room. And I think that also really helps this rivalry. Really appreciate that they have moved on from the Regal thing, which we talked about for a few weeks. They kind of really stretched the Regal thing out. Glad that they got past that.
Yep, it's all done.
It's all done. Now it's just about the two of them. Things that really stood out to me that I really loved. MJF saying that if Lance Storm and Dean Malenko had a child, just the line, I think he said it would be a better wrestler than you or something like that.
He'd be more charismatic than you.
Yeah, it would have more charisma than you. Lance Storm actually went on Twitter afterwards and said oh, if I was gonna make you, I would have a baby with the Miz. Just that was great.
Yeah, that was awesome
from Lance Storm. Yeah, MJF said that Danielson's mom.
I hate to interrupt you here. We just hit 20 likes on the live stream before 1 hour in. Thank you everybody for hitting that like button. You guys are freaking awesome. We normally try to hit 10 here. We have already hit 20. You guys are freaking awesome. Thank you very much.
I really appreciate it. If you're watching us and you haven't hit the like button yet, can we get to 25? Because that would be pretty fucking cool.
That's freaking cool.
That would be. Thank you so much, everyone. But so yeah, Danielson, MJF said that Danielson's mom fucked the goat. That definitely is something. He definitely said that. The human suitor line was hilarious. And then so I talked earlier about how AEW is smart and they know how to get their fans, how to work their fans, which is good. MJF says, like, the people that say you're the greatest of all time are like media members who have never done anything in the business. The fans who will never amount to anything. He's like, but people who say I'm the GOAT, legends in the industry, top guys like Disco Inferno, Eric Bischoff, and Jim Cornette. Basically, these three guys are, if you're not in the know, these guys are like literally the three biggest AEW haters online. Like, these guys are just constantly shitting on the products. Like, they're a bunch of nobodies who they're just losers, like absolute losers beyond their wrestling takes. Like, just the other shit these guys say is just fucking ridiculous. But that line had me rolling. I was just dying.
Yeah.
But they know how to work their fans, because yeah, AEW fans don't like these guys. The Disco Inferno one was the reach where I was like, okay, MJF is the man, dude. He knows. It would be one thing to say Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette's the easy one. And even Bischoff. But like to reach down and say like, oh, Disco Inferno, like that was a good one.
The Jim Cornette one got me. I was like, oh.
Well, also Taz completely buried Disco Inferno because MJF says Disco Inferno, and Taz is like, who?
Who's that?
Absolutely fucking loved it. Yeah, Cougs out says that. I was hoping Booker would be thrown in there too. He really should have been. He should have been like, the Bookman said I'm the GOAT. Like, oh, okay.
I would have lost it.
But so MJF does what MJF does. He basically sets up a trials for Danielson. He says, if you can win every match that you wrestle every week, and you win every match leading up to February 8th, come February 8th, you will be the number one contender. You can challenge me for the world title at Revolution. How's that sound? Danielson's like, no. He's like, I'm not gonna play your game. I'm just gonna beat the shit out of people until I get to face you, because like that's how it works. But they go back and forth a little bit, and basically at the end, Danielson says, okay, I'll accept your stipulation. I'll wrestle every week and win every week until February 8th, but I get to choose the match. And then the brilliance of MJF is like, well, that's great. Like, oh wow, oh my god, I'm gonna cheat, so now I can legally cheat. Like, I loved how he's just like, he's very honest. Like, yeah, I'm gonna cheat, and now you just make it easier for me to cheat. And Danielson's like, no, man, we're gonna have a 1 hour Iron Man match at Revolution. Jeff, bring the coffee to Revolution.
Oh, dude,
Revolution's not gonna be. It's gonna end at like 3:00 probably.
Dude, okay. If there's a match besides the tables match that I absolutely love, it is an Iron Man match. And a 1 hour between two of my absolute favorites right now, I'm in. I'm all in. I'll be bringing the Red Bulls, the coffee, whatever we need.
The Curlies especially.
I'll bring like a whole spread of Dunkin' Donuts. I'll have like coffee, donuts, and then some Curly's cheesesteaks.
But Jesus Christ, this was such a great fucking segment. It was a long segment, and I could see some people being a little tired by the end of it. I felt like on wrestling Twitter there were a few people that were just like, a little long. We can wrap this up. No, I thought this was perfect. I thought that the back and forth was great. The crowd was perfect. The crowd was super into everything that both Danielson and MJF said. These are two of the best in the business right now, just cooking, just in the kitchen right now, just fucking baking up a fucking masterpiece.
What up, Doge?
What up to the Doge?
Oh man.
But this was an excellent segment.
Yeah, perfection. Again, I don't like to use it often, but it's 2 times tonight already. Next up, we had a quick video package for Kip versus Orange Cassidy on Rampage. I cannot wait for that. I love me some Kip Sabian, and we both super high on Orange Cassidy, so absolutely can't wait for that. Next up, we had Sneaky Swerve Strickland versus AR Fox, man. What a match. You know how much I enjoy Swerve. I'm still not super sold on the Mogul affiliates, you know what I mean? But it's a decent faction for him. I kind of like where it's going. I just got to see a little more, you know. Something needs to help me make my decision here. I'm just not quite there yet. But this had one of my favorite spots that I have seen in a long time. So we had AR Fox on the outside of the ropes on the apron. Swerve went over to kind of hit him, but AR Fox did a backflip down to the floor. At the same time, Swerve did a diving front flip where his hands hit the apron and he did a front handspring and they both landed on their feet face to face. This was one of the coolest things that I have seen since Ricochet did his front flip in front of the Velveteen Dream on NXT. I actually rewound this because the wife had turned and she was talking to somebody for a second. I had to rewind it so she could see this. I had to see it again. If you guys didn't see it, I really hope they put it on the old YouTube or the Twitter. You got to see this spot with AR Fox and Swerve where they basically a dive over the ropes together, backflip, land in each other's faces. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. Taz called the guy with all the tattoos on his face the painted face man henchman. I really hope we run with this because I actually laughed so hard I started crying. Like I had tears coming down my face and I could not breathe. That was one of the funniest things I had ever heard on TV.
I believe what he actually said, because it's a running gag with him and Excalibur on Dark, he said Painted Man Jones. Because like Jones is just kind of like their generic name for like a wrestler or like anything they're talking about. Like talking about something like, oh, it's such and such Jones over there.
I actually rewound this part too to see what he said. I was like, what did he say? And he said painted face man henchman. And then Tony Schiavone was like, painted face man henchman, huh? I like it. And dude, I was laughing so hard I couldn't breathe. It was hilarious. We got a whole bunch of this is awesome chants because it absolutely was. Fox climbs to the top rope with Swerve and Parker Boudreaux hands something to Swerve. Swerve kind of hits Fox with it. Some sort of, object like a hammer or brass knuckles, whatever it may have been. I didn't get to see the object. Did you?
No, but I heard what sounded like a chain rattling, so I think it was a chain.
Okay, probably somebody's chain. Okay, that makes sense. And from that point on, Fox was basically out of it. Swerve hits a Death Valley driver to the apron of the ring. And, I Googled it. Again, hardest part of the ring. Google still confirms hardest part of the ring, the apron. That looked disgusting. I don't know if I've ever seen anybody do a Death Valley driver off the top rope onto the apron down to the floor. Like that was brutal looking. He throws AR Fox back in the ring. He hits the Swerve stomp. Looked like it was to AR Fox's throat and picks up the win in an incredible match. Swerve never fails to impress in his matches. So awesome job by Swerve and AR Fox here. Anything you wanted to add to this one?
I really liked Swerve's theme kind of getting tweaked a little bit. It was kind of like distorted and broken a little bit, which really kind of coincides with his dip into insanity.
That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. You're right.
Yeah, so I thought that was really great. Other than that, yeah, this was a banger of a match. The Death Valley driver on the ring apron, I was on my feet. I was like, holy shit, that was fucking nuts. But yeah, this was just an absolute banger.
Yeah, so good. All right, next up, we had Renee Paquette backstage with a sit-down interview with Toni Storm, Saraya, and Hikaru Shida. They basically said they were going to shed some light on who the partner was going to be. And this was a little, I don't want to say confusing because that's not the right way to put it. It was confusing on purpose, if anything. Saraya kind of hints, like talking to Toni Storm, she like essentially turns her back to Shida, like ignoring Shida. And she's like, I think we've got a really good plan, right, Tony? I think we've got this. We got this, right? And Renee Paquette takes it as if she's like, well, there you have it. Tony Storm's the tag partner. And I'm like, what's that?
She did say Tony was the tag partner.
I don't think she did,
No,
though.
she did.
Did she?
She did. Okay, so here's what happened.
felt
So they're sitting there and they're talking, and Saraya says the best women's. She says AEW's got the best women's roster, the best wrestlers. She's basically saying she loves AEW and AEW's great. She's really happy she's here, and she's like, sitting next to me is the best women's wrestler. Period. And so like there's two of them, so she's clearly talking about one of the two.
Yeah.
And then she's like, Tony's my partner. And then she's kind of bluntly like that, and then they go into what you were talking about, where they're like, oh, so I got this plan, and she's like, oh, you made the right choice. We're gonna beat them, like, you know, this, that, and the third.
And Sheeta was not happy.
Sheeta tweeted afterwards, "What the fuck?"
Really? Yeah, she was not. She was looking at him like, she's like, what the, you know, but I have to admit, the way that I took it, it was as if Saraya and Tony Storm had a plan. I didn't feel like she said that was my partner, but I could totally be wrong here. So I still think we have a chance at, you know, Mercedes, but we'll see.
So firstly, if Chad can back me up, I'm like 100% sure that she definitely.
Yeah, I'm not doubting you. I'm not doubting you.
Tony is the partner, because I remember I was like, what? And I started laughing because folks do not take the bait. Tony Khan is a smart man and he knows what he's fucking doing here. We're being worked. Do not take the red herring, which, mind you, Jeff, I'm about to blow your mind, right? So Tony Storm and Hikaru Shida, it is Saraya. Saraya is going to be there next week. Yeah. Hikaru Shida and Tony Storm are serving as a red herring here. Both of the girls were wearing red tonight.
Wait, they were?
They were both in red.
They were.
Which Sheeta usually wears red, so I could maybe see one of them. But both of them wore red on the same night. Tony Storm had like a Green Day shirt on, so that was really cool. But it was a red Green Day shirt. But yeah, so they were both wearing red. They're a red herring here to throw you off. It is absolutely 100% Saraya is, or not, sorry, it's not Saraya. Mercedes is definitely coming next week. So here's where I'm thinking, right? I'm completely crazy, but let's see what happens here. So I'm gonna kind of fantasy book this, Jeff. So right now we have two segments tonight. We have the Jamie Hayter Britt Baker segment, and we have the Saraya Tony Storm Hikaru Shida segment. What happens during these segments? We see a clear divide in between. Well, number one, we get a tease for Mercedes in the Brit segment.
Yes.
So that's clear. They don't tease things like that unless they're going to do it. So that's where I'm telling you, don't worry, it'll be fine. But there is a clear divide both in words and actions. I also fucking love Hikaru Shida. In words and actions, a divide between AEW originals and the new talent. You hear it in Britt's words, you hear it in Jamie's words, you see it happen during the Saraya segment, where Saraya and Tony Storm, they're not AEW originals. They haven't been here since day one. Hikaru Shida has been. I think we see, number one, I think the way we get to Mercedes is Hikaru Shida is going to fucking kill Tony Storm. Rampage is live this week, folks. Just keep that in mind. You could also argue it happens at the Kia Forum on Wednesday. But, you know, anyways, I'm getting distracted. So what if this year we always get a blood and guts match? What if we fucking do a storyline where it's the AEW women who were like have been here since day one versus the new talent, and it ends up in like a fucking like a blood and guts match for women? What if that's
yes,
play,
please.
Jeff? What if that's in play? Because it would be I don't even know. I would have to really sit down and think about it. But you would have like Britt, Jamie, Shida, Nyla. I would put Nyla on that team.
Let's fucking go.
And then maybe Anna Jay. I don't know for the fifth. I don't know. Jade wasn't there since day one, but she's been in AEW her whole career, so I don't know.
I
And
would
then on
call
the
her
other
an
side,
original. I would.
yeah, and then on the other side you have Saraya at the time. Mercedes will be there. Tony Storm, Ruby Soho maybe, and like Athena. Like there you go, bam, 5-on-5. Fucking book it, Tony. Just do it. I I don't know. I'm just Thunder
Rosa.
Rosa. Yeah, the Coog says Thunder Rosa. That again, I don't consider Thunder Rosa an AEW original. Riho, there you go. Riho is an AEW original. Yeah, there you go. You can
Oh,
bring
I could have
Riho.
reminded you, but Darby, because he won. Well, we'll get to that. But Darby replaced Riho on the shelf just for tonight.
Ah,
I could have
um,
reminded that one.
but so yes, my words to everyone here viewing, listening to us talk about AEW Dynamite is: do not buy the red herring. Mercedes is coming. Last night, Mercedes did a press conference thing after the show, and she's like, "I'm on a world tour of destruction. You guys just saw me first." Like, okay, well, that's
Ooh,
something.
okay, okay.
And then, like, this is so on the like, it's so bluntly swerving here. Like, it's definitely intentional. Like, it's absolutely intentional, and it's fucking amazing. It's so great. It's absolutely just so incredible. And then, like, even just the symbolism of having the red herring, and they're just both in red, and we're gonna get a heel Shida out of this, and that's fucking exciting. I'm very excited for a heel Hikaru Shida who's just like, I'm just gonna fucking kill you.
Yuka Sakazaki, Yuka Sakazaki, Yuka Sakazaki.
There,
Sorry, Coog, I had to.
yeah, the point is, there's a lot of choices. There's a lot of ways you can go
There
with it where
is.
it makes sense. Red Velvet's another AEW day one. You know what I mean? Like there are a lot of choices there. There are a lot of ways you can go with it. The women's division in AEW has not missed a beat in months. It is probably one of the most impressive streaks of a division or even of a promotion of consistency. Like where it's just every single week since August, the women's division has just been incredible. Penelope Ford's
Since
another original. Penelope Ford could be on that team.
since
Um,
the day Madison Rain arrived.
yeah,
It,
I mean that's a fair
I
point. That's a really
I
fair
don't
thing
know
to
if it's
say.
a coincidence, but seriously, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, keep that in mind. I think we still absolutely see Mercedes next week. I think we
Yeah,
have
I
like
think you nailed it. I think you nailed it. I think we see Tony Storm get attacked by Hikaru Shida, and then Saraya's like, "My God, I got to find another partner. I
oh,
don't
you
have
know
any
what they
other
could do?
friends in this world." Oh
You
wait,
know,
yeah, I do.
you know what they could do, and like they could turn it into an angle too, where it's like at Rampage, like they're like, oh, and Alex Marvez has found a situation breaking down backstage, and it's just Marvez finds Tony Storm just knocked out, just
Yep.
completely laid out. Chris Statlander, yeah, she would have to make the OG team. Say, there's so many, um, but like they'll cut to backstage, and Tony will just be laid out with no idea who it was, and then so Saraya's gonna accuse Britt and Jamie, and Britt's like, we have nothing to do with this. We're gonna kick your ass on Wednesday. We don't need to jump you beforehand. But it was actually Sheeta the whole time.
Yeah. You could leave a kendo stick near the body, you know.
No, because that would be too. Well, maybe. Yeah, I guess that. Yeah, that would be pretty good. That would be perfect. That
Yeah,
would be just enough. Um, but yeah, my takeaways are
near
Mercedes
the
is still
body.
coming next week. Don't worry. Sheeta's turning heel. That's fucking
Yeah.
exciting. And number three, the women are going to take a center stage this year. I think that the women's division is going to be a key pivotal storyline in AEW this year. Kind of like how last year the JAS kind of Eddie Kingston Blackpool Combat Club was like the rivalry. I would say that that's going to be this year's version. Like I really think that this is the start of something that you're going to be here. We're going to see this for like the next 10 months. Like the seeds are being planted right now for a war. I
Yo,
think
so Purpleness is in chat. I have to give it to her. She's been telling me for months that Sasha Banks / Mercedes is coming, and Jade's gonna get to 50. We've all heard Purple say Jade's going to 50 for like months now,
yeah.
and she's been saying it that Sasha's the only one that can dethrone her. Someone's got to, and I completely agree with that. Purple, completely agree.
Yeah, I agree too. I think that again, and that could also be how you get Jade into this storyline, this war storyline, where Mercedes shows up and takes Jade's title, and Jade could be like, "I've been busting my ass here since the day I got here. I've been here my entire career, and you just kind of like waltz in here like you're Miss Big." You know what I mean? Like it's there. The storyline's there to do this
Yep.
AEW originals versus the newer signees. Like I'm just saying, man.
Oh man, I wish Coog one of these days. Now here, you guys want to hear something really cool actually. So hold on, I got to see what company it was, but I actually don't think I told you about this, Rome. Oh my god, I meant to tell you and I have not. So Warrior Wrestling has approached us, who is, I believe, Thunder Rosa's wrestling company, and they have asked if we would like to sponsor a match for their upcoming event on January 21st. Um, the prices range from what I could actually afford to what I could not, but this is very tempting. And I was blown away. We got a DM from Warrior Wrestling asking if we would like to sponsor a match. And basically, our entire podcast logo and everything would be like this match sponsored by the Broken Tables podcast, and it would be on the ring side and everything. Like, I was kind of blown away. I forgot to message you. This was just last night, actually.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it off channel or off stream.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Next up, we had the Gun Club come down to ringside for a eulogy for FTR. This was absolutely fantastic. The eulogy, it was really good the way that they were doing this. They were spot on. Daddy Ass has to be so proud right now. These boys have graduated to a whole new level since they first arrived in AEW. They kind of teased that FTR was in Japan. They're not going to show up. FTR's music hits. Obviously, I didn't think they were showing up. I was like, no, they're just going to laugh at the crowd and be like, aha, gotcha. And, I was right. But they said something that really, really bothered me here. They said FTR will never work in AEW again. That hurt my feelings.
So here's the thing, Jeff. We've talked about it a little bit. I feel that unless Dax is really working us, right? I think FTR is going back to the Fed. I do. I do think that. And there's reasons for that. Somebody last night on Twitter, Dax said congrats to the team that beat us at Wrestle Kingdom. Top guys out. And then, which kind of felt like a send-off, like, hey, we're done with New Japan. You're never going to see us in New Japan ever again. And then somebody tweeted at him, like, oh, man, you should come back home. Like, now that Triple H is in charge, like, I would love to see the Revival feud with the Usos. And Dax added Triple H and said, next time. And I'm like, it's a real interesting thing that you could go and have the hottest year that maybe any in the history of tag team wrestling, like just the hottest year of all time, and then just be like, yeah, you know what, let's fucking feud with the Usos for 8 months. That sounds fun.
I don't know, man. They don't like Shawn Michaels very much, and he's still a prominent figure over there. I don't know.
Here's the thing, Jeff. I know you're an FTR guy.
Definitely.
There are times where FTR, they do irk me a little bit. I don't want to take away from their wrestling. I think Dax gets annoying on Twitter. I unfollowed him, actually. He annoys me sometimes. I just feel like he's teasing it. And either, like, if you're trying to work and get your money, cool. I get it. If you're trying to, leverage yourself to Tony Khan or somebody else to get more money, do you make your money, work your work. But all right, bro, if you're gonna keep teasing that you're going back to the Fed, then I'm just gonna lose interest in you. I'm gonna stop investing in you. It's like Miro. You're not gonna see Miro on TV anymore. You know why? Because Lana every fucking week says WWE is the number one brand in wrestling. WWE is the best. Oh, everybody goes back to WWE. Miro's not going to make TV. He's just not going to make TV because of his wife. That's just factual.
She's trying to get her job back.
Oh, I know, which is fucking crazy that she's gonna spite her husband's job to get her job back.
I heard rumors of Ava Marie going back, and I just laughed. I was like, that makes perfect sense.
Please sign Eva Marie. Please, I'm fucking begging you. Please Triple Paul. Please Papa H. Please resign Eva Marie and fucking Lana. But like it's such a weird fucking thing from FTR where it's like teasing that you're going to the Fed. Like, okay, MJF does it, and that, but like you can't just do that. Like at one point or another, it's just go away heat. It makes me not want to see FTR. Like, okay, if you guys are gonna keep teasing that you're going back, then just fucking do it. Then just go back. So that made me enjoy this segment all the more when they had the fucking tombstone that said FTRIP.
Yeah.
I lost my shit. I was like, this is incredible. This is one of the greatest segments in the history of professional wrestling. Not really, but it was very, very good.
It was good, yeah. Now, what I want to say is I think FTR are going heel, and I think they're going to try to go nuclear heel because of the upcoming return of the best in the world, CM Punk. So I'm pretty sure here's what's happening. Future, I'm certain the Elite are going to win, but I could definitely be wrong. But if the Elite win, it's going along my path here that CM Punk returns. Probably going to have a match with Jericho because Jericho said he's never coming back, stuff like that. I feel like all of these stories are planted right now. It all makes perfect sense to make a shitload of money from this storyline. We're going to get CM FTR, them versus the Elite. FTR, the Elite, that's already a story, with the Bucks. CM Punk, with Kenny Omega, it's gonna be great. I think that's where we're headed.
So I do agree that I think that's the play if Punk is coming back. I'm currently kind of trying to keep my expectations in check. I heard it for 7 years. And then he came back and it was everything I ever wanted. And now, I sit here, I've accepted that what happened, whether it be a work or a shoot.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, okay. I mean, if he comes back, that's going to be fucking amazing. I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be back on track. Could you imagine AEW's current product and CM Punk? Like, all right, well, that's it, bro. That's fucking it. Just call it. Just call it now. Just mortgage the house so that way I can just live in AEW land for the rest of my life. But yeah, I love the Gun Club saying that they may have been 7-star FTR, but they're 10-star in our heart. And then they were like, "Can everyone please rise for a moment of silence?" You bet your fucking ass I stood up. Like, oh man, like you said, just the Guns completely fucking killing it here. They also did have that line at the end where it's like, you could go to any promotion, and I mean any promotion, which you know what they're talking about there, but you'll never wrestle in AEW again. Like, okay. All right.
Yeah,
we'll see what happens with that. We'll see. Rumor is that their contracts are up in April. So I mean, if FTR have made it clear to Tony that they're not going to get, like, again, if Punk's coming back, you're right. That's the play. That's the story, I think. If he's not coming back, they're going to WWE. That's what it is. And
I mean, we'll see.
I don't know, man.
I mean, there's a good chance they could have enough money now after being with New Japan and AEW for so long. They could have enough money to be like, "Hey, we're done. See you."
No,
let's save our bodies.
That's the case. I think right now you're trying to hope and will the not worst case scenario to happen.
Yeah, I know.
I just hope you like the Usos versus the Revival because you're gonna see it for 9 months straight.
Oh, I mean, maybe I don't know if I would watch it. Like, I don't know.
Oh no, I wouldn't. I straight up wouldn't. Yeah. I would not.
All right. Next up, we had Sky Blue and Kira Hogan versus Jade Cargill and Red Velvet with Layla Gray looking fantastic ringside, by the way. This was an interesting one. So right away, Red Velvet just walked straight to the ring, ruining Jade Cargill's entrance. She got in the way of the camera. Jade was doing her flexing back there, but couldn't see her because Red Velvet was just right up in the camera. This annoyed Jade, caused basically the two of them to bicker / bitch at each other the entire match. Jade kept on destroying Kira Hogan and then trying to hand her to Red Velvet, who would then mess up and, have to tag out again.
Mhm.
Jade destroys Kara Hogan again and hands her off to Red Velvet, who actually jumps off the ring apron to leave. Jade gets rolled up real quick, but Jade reverses it. She gets out and she hits the pump kick onto Kara Hogan for the win. And you get to see that Jade didn't need the baddie's help at all here. I thought this was good. I thought we were going somewhere, other than just Jade Cargill versus Red Velvet here, but it just seems like we're getting Jade's next challenger going to be Red Velvet. I think that'll be a decent challenger for Jade to get to, what'll it be next? 47? I think she's at 46.
No, now she's 47-0.
Now she's 47. Okay, so next one will be 48. And then maybe we'll get one more and then the big 5-0. So that should be interesting to see Jade get to 50. Next up, we had Sanjay Dutt and Jeff Jarrett backstage doing a quick promo. I was kind of doing something here. Did you hear what they said? I missed. I didn't get to write anything down on this one.
Yeah, there was a match announced for Friday, and that was
Okay.
that was basically what they were talking about.
Okay. Yeah, and the Kooks, like he says, the Sky Blue on Dynamite tells us that they are pretty high on her. She's very green, but you can definitely tell she's been putting the work in, and she's gotten much better than when she first arrived as well. So, yeah, congratulations to her to get on Dynamite. I didn't even think about that. Good point,
Yeah,
Coog.
there's more, but you'll see later.
Yeah. All right. Next up was Darby Allin versus Samoa Joe for the TNT Championship. This was great. This was just absolutely fabulous. This is what a hometown match should be. Darby got chants for his name before he even made his way out to the ramp. I thought we had a new song almost for Darby. Did you notice how there was like a video running and it was a new song, but it was just kind of like a thing for Seattle. It felt like, then they played his normal music and his normal entrance after, but I was actually hoping that was a new entrance music for Darby because it was really cool, whatever it was. But man, this match, Darby, before he gets in the ring, he hugs Nick Wayne on the outside. If you don't know who Nick Wayne is, I suggest you look up on Google Nick Wayne versus Swerve Strickland, and you will see an absolutely mind-boggling match with a freaking 16-year-old boy and Swerve Strickland. And this kid is incredible. And he has signed what they call, what did they call this here? A AEW futures contract. So it's basically saying like when he does turn 18, he's going to be signed to AEW. They got first bids on his draft pick, if you will. So if you haven't seen this kid, go look him up. He is amazing.
Nick Wayne is signed, like you said, to a futures contract. Just like -1 is when they're 18, they will have a contract there for them, ready to go.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome. When Samoa Joe comes down to ringside, he grabs Nick Wayne by the throat, tries to attack him, but Darby hits his absolute missile tope through the ropes into Samoa Joe, starts destroying him with the skateboard, sends him up the ramp, and we get Samoa Joe on the outside of the ramp where there's about a 5 to 6 foot drop, and Darby does an acid drop with the skateboard right onto Samoa Joe's back. If any skateboarders are in the chat, you'll know what an acid drop is. That's where you jump off of some sort of a ledge and you put the board under your feet and then land to go down the ramp or whatever you're doing. That had to hurt. He landed wheels first right on Samoa Joe's back. Would not recommend that to anybody. We finally get the bell to ring. Darby gets Samoa Joe in the ring. Oh, wait a second. Then Darby gets a giant 12-foot ladder before he sends him to the ring. Climbs to the very top of this freaking ladder, and he does his best Jeff Hardy impersonation. This dude is out of his mind. He does a front flip, hits Samoa Joe, lands onto the ramp, and it looks like he tweaked his knee a little bit, but you could tell he was fine, but they definitely played it out throughout the entire match here. We get the bell ringing, the match finally starts. Joe hit a nasty sidewalk type slam onto Darby on the stairs, worked over Darby's knee for basically the whole match after this. We got an exposed turnbuckle spot where Samoa Joe's face goes colliding into the turnbuckle. Darby Allin hits a huge code red and then 2 coffin drops to secure the 1, 2, 3 in his hometown. Darby Allin picks up the win. We have a new TNT champion, Darby Allin. I thought this was amazing. This was a perfect end to this unbelievable episode of Dynamite tonight. What did you think of this match here?
I mean, it was the perfect match for this show. It really fit this show and just the vibe and also just how awesome it was. Like, look, man, like I know that I said that Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega is like my match of the year, and that's in New Japan. But I mean, AEW is the best wrestling promotion. Period. Like that. Like that's the end of the sentence.
Absolutely.
They just don't miss. This match was really incredible. It was brutal. Just the way that Darby gets freaking killed, whether it be the ladder spot or when Joe kind of slammed his back onto the edge of the steps, like the corner of the steps, or
disgusting.
during the picture-in-picture, they show him like just ragdolling Darby off, and just the way Darby claws back and fights. Like this match had a beautiful story to it. Just a fucking excellent story. It's my match of the night in terms of AEW. Getting Nick Wayne involved is really cool. There's a built-in story there. You know, I think Nick Wayne's 16 right now. I'm not 100% sure. Jeff, can you fact check that for me real quick? I think he's 16.
I'm thinking he's 17 because he was 16 back when I watched that match.
Okay, then he's 17. So, you know what I mean? Like, he could walk in the door next year and, you know, him and Darby have something going, or him and Joe can do something. It's just building on multiple levels. They did it throughout the night, like even with the Saraya promo or the Saraya segment. It's just man, it's just incredible stuff. It's just an absolutely excellent match. And I think that letting your guys win in their hometowns, especially in marquee spots, is just such an easy way to make things feel special. Like, that crowd was so into Darby. They were so into Swerve. They were so into Danielson. Like, Jesus Christ, Danielson. But like, yeah, that's what you do when you go to a town. Treat your hometown talent well. That should be their win. If you have, like, I don't know, somebody that never wins in AEW, Serpentico. If you have Serpentico and you're in his hometown, I mean, he's from Puerto Rico, but like, if AEW ever goes to Puerto Rico, Serpentico needs to win a match in Puerto Rico. And like, sometimes they don't do it because it does feed off and work out, you know, pay out later on down the line. But like, generally speaking, like, give your talent that spot in their hometown, even if it's not a big match. Like, just do it. And more often than not, AEW does do that, and this paid off there. You know, you got Darby winning the title back, a title that he's made very clear that is his most important title. He doesn't care, you know, well, not to say he doesn't care about the world title, but he cares about the TNT title more than any other title in AEW. So for him to get the win in his hometown, beat Joe in a really good match, you got Sting coming out afterwards, and they embrace. It was a really special moment for Darby.
Oh, it was, man. When Sting came out, for some reason, my brain just didn't register Sting was here or, you know, would have been here. And when Sting came out and was like, he was visibly hyped for him. He was like really, really excited. I teared up again, man. Like, AEW's got a way of telling stories that really get to you if you're one of those people that can experience the emotional side of things like that. Like, you know, I cried during movies and shit like that. You know, I can't control it, but, you know. And they hit me all the time, man. They definitely know where those buttons are and how to push them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely agree.
All right, so absolutely amazing episode of Dynamite here tonight. Do you have our card for Rampage?
Yes, give me 1 second.
Oh, Coog, it's REY, sir. REY. Sorry, that's one of my pet peeves, and you know, King Rome over here, he loves to use that when he wants to get under the skin.
Oh man,
Coog says here's his gift to us, Rome, Jeffrey, and chat. If rumors are true, wait till you see El Hijo del Vikingo, the current AAA mega champion in AEW. He's unreal. His inverted 630 splash is breathtaking. I have seen it. He is incredible. Yeah, but didn't AAA sign him to a weird contract where he's not allowed to appear on any other promotion on television except for AAA?
Yes, but apparently there are some people are speculating there are like some instances where it could be not the case.
Okay.
Like
They probably would just have to approve
he
it.
can't show up on Impact, but I think there was rumors that he could do it on AEW.
Okay. That'd be funny if they were like, AEW's an exception. Go ahead.
Yes. Hold on.
So
So I
what did
do-
everybody think of Dynamite tonight? Does anybody agree with me that this was the best Dynamite they've ever seen? Can you guys suggest a few for me that may have been better that I'm forgetting about? But this episode with just everything adding up, you know what I mean? The new set being perfect, every match being amazing. Like, this felt like a pay-per-view to me. I just, something about it, man. This Dynamite rose to a whole new level for me.
All right, so I do have the preview for next week. One of the first one on the card sort of got messed up for me, so I don't have the first match that got announced. I don't remember what it was. But on Rampage, we're gonna hear from the House of Black. This Friday will be live, just so you know, live
Okay.
from
Yep.
10 to
Yep.
12. Rampage 10 to 11, and then Battle of the Belts 11 to 12. But yeah, so we're gonna hear from the House of Black on Rampage. We're also gonna get Piero Pellegrosso, Preston Vance in action. Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker DMD are taking on the Renegades.
The Renegade Twins, let's go.
They're just called the Renegades now, Jeff.
I know, but that's the Renegade Twins. I fucking love these girls.
Announced for Battle of the Belts, we got for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. No holds barred, the Acclaimed versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Jade Cargill's defending her title against Sky Blue. And Orange Cassidy is defending his title against Kip Sabian. Announced for Dynamite next week, we have Jon Moxley versus Hangman Adam Page, Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker DMD versus Saraya and Tony Storm, Brian fucking Danielson and Konosuke Takeshita. Just, oh boy.
What up,
man.
TJ? It's wrestling night tonight, bro.
The Firm's Big Bill and Lee Moriarty will take on Jungle Hook. And then we got Game 7 for the AEW World Trios Championships. Death Triangle versus the Elite in an Escalera de la Muerte ladder match.
Oh, I can't wait for that ladder match, man. Picture this. I think somebody said it in chat. So picture the Elite on top of the ladders celebrating, holding their belts, and CMFTR come out to push them over. That'd be insane.
It would be. Again,
Be too quick, though.
I'm just warning, don't get your hopes up. I mean,
No. That would be way too quick. Way too quick.
Yeah. But so that's what I got, except for this one mystery match that I wish I knew what it was.
Yeah, I looked at what I see here. I don't see anything that you necessarily missed. I just see the Moxley versus Top Flight, or Moxley and Danielson versus Top Flight.
Yeah.
House of Black.
What the hell? Jeff, I'm sending you a picture of someone in the crowd at Dynamite tonight. I texted it to you. Go ahead and put that on the stream, please.
Send it through Discord, can you?
Hold on.
I can't show my phone the stream unless I just put my phone up, you know?
I'm saying, can you pull it to the Discord? Oh, I guess, yeah. No, you couldn't. All right, that's fine. Hold on.
Well, I could take it from my text to the Discord, yes. Hold on.
Send it to Jeffrey Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, dude, he was ringside. Yeah, my wife was like, yo, check out the Cookie Monster. Yeah, hang
on. But anyways, so, man, what a big week for wrestling, though. I mean, obviously, Wrestle Kingdom was last night. Tonight's Dynamite was just incredible. We have a live 2-hour AEW show on Friday. And then next week is that Kia Forum show. And, that's the show, man. That is the show. I think, obviously, the WB execs are going to be there. And they are going all out for that show next week.
I'm I'm gonna have to use the film room. I don't have the screen set up here. But here, let's go to the film room.
Real quick, while Jeff's doing that, we have surpassed 25 likes. We are at 27 likes here. If anyone is still watching us, not hit the like button yet, please help us get to 30. We really appreciate
Thank
you
you. Oh
guys
my
helping
God,
us
you
out
guys
here.
are
Hit the
awesome.
subscribe button too if you can. Come hang out with us every single week.
Yeah, there was a guy in a full Cookie Monster outfit tonight. That was pretty good. I wish I could have blown that up. I couldn't get it any bigger, but I'll fix that.
Yep, and the Coug, yeah, like I said, Battle of the Belts will be live as well. So it's a 2-hour show, Rampage and then Battle of the Belts, both live. Jeff, I have like one last little thing. So I have a feeling at Battle of the Belts, we're gonna be surprised by one of the outcomes.
Okay.
I think Kip Sabian's gonna beat Orange Cassidy.
Ooh, really?
Well, Kip just got announced that he's working. What's it called? He's working Japan next month. In one of the promotions, I forgot which one it was. It was I think it was Noah.
That's odd.
ADT. He's working one of the promotions. Him and Penelope are both working the promotion. So it's like
thank you, Coog. Thank you very much.
it would make a lot of sense if he defended the title over there. But I don't want him to. I like Kip. I would be okay if Kip won. But,
yeah, I actually did say it would be somebody good for them to put it on after Cassidy. Yeah, I thought about that. All right. Man, Battle of the Belts. So, question for you. You working that Friday night? You going to be able to do the show?
Well, so we talked about this because you also said it would be rough because it's a 2-hour show. We're actually going to do the show on Saturday. Remember?
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, because I realize that's I would be available to do the show on a regular Friday, but both of us have work early that morning. Going live at midnight Eastern would probably be pretty rough on both of us.
Yeah. So we'll do it Saturday evening-ish,
Yeah, I think we had discussed 5:30, but I mean whatever time works for you.
Yeah, we'll do somewhere around maybe 5:30 or 6 Eastern on Saturday night. We'll do the Rampage and Battle of the Belts review show. So if you guys are looking for us on Friday night, remember we'll be here on Saturday. And then we'll be here on Monday night again for the Game Room podcast. So stay tuned for that one. Last one was actually really cool. We got a lot of views and likes on that one too. So starting to pick up. We're getting more people in chat. Thank you guys. Thank all you guys for showing up. Wouldn't be here without you guys. So
yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Really appreciate it.
You got anything else you want to throw at the chat tonight?
Well, I'm ready to go to bed.
Yeah, I completely understand. So
sorry,
why don't you go ahead and close us out, and we'll let you get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this has been episode 106 of the Broken Tables podcast. If you like the video, like the live stream, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. Again, thank you guys so much for getting us to 27 currently likes while live. That's I believe it's a record apart from our MJF stream a few months back. Really appreciate it. If you're coming in, checking us out, stick around. We love talking wrestling. We talk every single Wednesday night and Friday night after Dynamite and Rampage. We also do a video game podcast on Mondays called The Game Room. As Jeff said, we previewed 2023 on the last episode. You can go back and check it out with our wonderful co-host Forrest. Next Monday's topic will be kind of a fun one. It's going to be kind of like a look back at our own gaming years in 2022. Which I'll get more into it, more details, but we're basically going to talk about what we played last year personally, as opposed to just kind of giving report cards and stuff like that. But that being said, you can like us, follow our social medias down below in the description. We will see you guys on Saturday, not Friday, but Saturday.
Yes, Saturday. All right. Well, until Saturday night, top guys out.